welcome back. We're continuing our Tuned In series here on The Social, diving into the biggest and buzziest stories in the music industry.
Here to help us do just that is music journalist, and The Social producer, Emilie Hanskamp. Nice to see you. Okay, so there's a lot of, unfortunately, virus talk in the news right now, but folks in the music industry are actually talking about something different. It's blue dot fever.
Yes.
So what exactly is that?
So more virus talk, but this is not the contagious type, don't worry. I mean, unless you're in the industry, then we are worried it's a bit contagious. You might have seen in the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of tour cancellation. In some cases, there's just a leg of the tour. In other cases, the entire tour is being canceled. We saw that with Post Malone and Jelly Roll. He canceled many dates, postponed others. His excuse was, I need time to work on my album. So that's one. Just before that, you had Meghan Trainor canceled her entire tour, citing work-life balance. That's two. And then you had Zayn Malik, who canceled his entire U.S. tour and several UK dates, citing health reasons. People aren't buying these reasons, though. They're saying this is to save face. And really what they say it is blue dot fever. What is that? Well, you know when you go on Ticketmaster and you see those seating plans, you see all those blue dots. Each one of those represents an available seat, right, for purchase.
Gosh.
So what they're saying is blue dot fever, there are tons of tickets that aren't selling on these tours. And this sort of all came to this crescendo when just a couple weeks ago, the Pussycat Dolls announced they were canceling all but one single North American date on their tour. But they said no face-saving excuses. They said, we looked at it, we didn't sell enough, this is not worth it, we're cutting our losses and we're heading out.
Wow.
So this is a trend that we're starting to see more and more. People are getting their backs up a little bit.
So why is this happening, and what might this mean for the live music industry?
Yeah, so I feel like the headline here shouldn't be the live music industry has no money. I mean, last year they grossed about $8.9 billion, so don't worry about that.
Yep.
But the trend is what's the issue here. So Post Malone just in 2024, for example, he sold out his last tour. So what happened in 2 years that now he's canceling the dates? I think it's really a trifecta here. First, ticket prices, everyone watching it in the studio, you know they're eye-watering.
Yeah.
Second, economic anxiety, inflation, we can't afford these things. And three, it's just oversaturation. There's so many shows. If 10 artists are coming to your city, because of all those reasons, you're not going to all 10. Maybe you're going to one, maybe you're going to two. So what happens to those other 8 artists? It's a tricky spot to be in.
Wow.
So I think we're going to have to see bookers and artists being a little more strategic with the size and scale of their tour as well as the frequency.
Yeah. Well, let's pivot a little bit, because next you want to talk about a Canadian artist, not named Drake, who made some waves on Reddit around his album release. What's going on here?
Drake has enough coverage, so I want to cover some indie artists here because this is a bigger discussion. So Hiroki Tanaka is the former guitarist of this group called Yamataka Sonic Titan. If you don't know who they are, don't worry about it. This is a story that applies across the music industry. He recently took to Reddit and he said, listen, I've been in the music industry 20 years. I played everything by the book. I hired a PR firm, marketing agency. I formed a Substack for this album rollout. I did everything I can. And after 8 months of campaigning, I got just about 2,000 streams of my album that I've been working so hard on this whole time. So yes, this is one artist, but this is a very common story. It is becoming increasingly hard for artists to reach out and connect with fans. There's so much noise, there's so much music that it's hard to actually just get someone to know you have an album out that exists. So I'm so happy that he came forward. He said, I'm demoralized. I'm going to go get an apprenticeship in plumbing to support my family. And this is something we have to keep tabs on because it's incredibly difficult in this, especially streaming landscape, to break through, to make a living, to make any money, and to get your art appreciated.
And these are our Canadian artists.
Canadian artists who deserve our love and attention, right?
Wow, so much so. Okay, next you're taking us to a place that I've been, which is the Pyramids of Giza. So what is going on here?
Okay, I'll set this up for you. Imagine you're at an electronic show, the DJ's up in front, and behind the DJ you have this gorgeous backdrop of the Pyramids of Giza. Would you be into this?
Yes.
Sounds kind of cool, right? Well, it's causing a little bit of a stir.
Then no.
So I do want to plug Sean Ronaldo's incredible Barcelona-based musician. His newsletter, April Claire Welch, published this piece that is on the rising trend of more and more electronic shows happening at heritage sites. So we've seen this before. So the Xixi Festival in Shanghai is at the U Gardens. We have the Adriatic Sound Festival, which takes place in this ancient Roman port where Julius Caesar apparently first walked. So then we have the pyramids, though. Okay, now he's not the first artist. Electronic artists, the reason why people are really having a problem with this is because think of the vibrations of a bass in the base of an electronic show, right? archaeologists are actually concerned that this could compromise and destabilize these ancient stone structures. So there's a lot of pushback here. Not to mention you have these lasers, you have the excavation that goes into big productions that scaled up like this. So there's a lot of concern whether that's ethical, as well as who can afford to go to these shows? Who can afford to pay these ticket prices to have these heritage cultural sites as the backdrop, and who should have that access? So this now becomes something for us as consumers to choose ethically where we feel like we should be partying and have a good time, and where we should have, leave as a sacred space.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's a good point. So just this week, though, a new music marketplace launched online. So what do we need to know about that?
Yeah, so until very recently, I'm talking 3 days ago, the best alternative for indie artists online to these streaming giants that often leave indie artists by the wayside was Bandcamp. But recently, Bandcamp in 2022 was bought and kind of subject to a lot of the corporate takeover consequences that we see with these other streamers. So just a few days ago, this new marketplace called Subvert launched. And I'm really excited about this because, get this, it costs zero money to be part of. Artists get 100% of the proceeds. Wow. And it actually kind of functions as a co-op. So it has just over 22,000 members right now, I believe, and those are artists and label members, and they share ownership of this app. So it's really trying to decentralize and regain control for artists. So obviously early days, but I think I recommend checking it out. It's great to have alternatives. Subvert.
Subvert. Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
So next, we're moving on to Taylor Swift and her trademarks. What are we digging into here?
Yeah, so fun fact, Billboard reported that Taylor Swift probably has about 150 trademarks at this point.
Wow.
Everything from song titles, expressions, album names, all that sorts of thing. And now we know that she's really serious about her intellectual property, right? When she recorded the Taylor's versions of her albums, she's really serious about owning her work and claiming that. Now she's kind of tackling AI, though. She's been a victim of AI impersonation we saw with sexually explicit images. There was also a video where she appeared to be endorsing Donald Trump. So now what she's doing, she's made 3 applications for trademarks. 2 of them are audio clips, her saying things like, "Hi, I'm Taylor Swift," and "Hey, it's Taylor," and 1 image of her holding a pink guitar on stage at the Eras Tour. The goal behind this is basically to say that now we can point to this if there's either an identical replication or something similar, and we can say, no, that is infringing on my trademark law. So we'll see, hopefully, if this might gather some steam among other artists as well, that they can use this to stick it to the AI overlords, right?
That's great.
So do you think we'll be seeing more of this happening?
Yeah, I mean, I do think so. I think that at this point, Taylor often does lead the way. It's interesting because in the past, their recorded material was protected by copyright law, but AI kind of is creating new music in a way. So there's this gap in the legislation and in law right now that artists like Taylor are trying to fill. And I do think that more and more artists are going to be following suit because we know that the tech companies are not coming in to save them. So
Totally. Emilie, always such a joy to have you here. Thank you.